right. Oh my gosh. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Too Cool for Middle School. I'm very excited today just to not feel like crap. I'm actually excited about making a video, and it's been a while. It's been a while since then. I have some hot chocolate, even though it's like, I don't know, 80 something degrees outside probably, but it's always just so much more relaxing to sit down with a mug of anything. Okay, so today I finally get to make a video without pretending that I'm not pregnant. We can talk about that now, that we have told everybody in our family, so we can just announce it to everybody else. Ever since January, actually since January of last year, I've been doing my monthly reading wrap-ups, and so that's like 19 months in a row, so I can't skip it. So we're gonna add a little book wrap-up into this video, but it's gonna be very short because I felt like crap most of the month and didn't read very much. I only read 3 books, so let me tell you about those real quick, and then you guys have left some very sweet comments. Thank you so much for all the congratulations and a couple of questions over on Instagram, so we'll answer some of those questions. So real quick, 3 book reviews and recommendations, really. The first one that I read in the month of August was 3 Keys by Kelly Yang, which is the sequel to Front Desk. It could be used with students as young as like 4th grade probably, and then it would be appropriate up into middle school, just kind of depending on the kids and how you're using it. But the thing that I really like about it is that if you take the social justice standards, and I did this with Anne Frank last year, the play version of the Diary of Anne Frank, and I created like this little journal to reflect on each of the social justice standards with, the Anne Frank story. And that worked like pretty well. It was hard to hit every single standard with that story, and so I remember like making a video about it and asking like, is there a book that could hit every single one of those standards? It's like identity, diversity, justice, and action. And so this book, it's at school right now, so I don't have the physical copy. My students wanted to read it, but it hits all of those categories and does a really good job with that. So the main character is an immigrant from China, so we get to see her perspective, and then her best friend is from Mexico, and she is undocumented. So like while they have some things in common, Mia, the main character, like recognizes that there are certain issues of safety and stuff that she doesn't necessarily have to deal with. And they have another friend who is Chinese, but he's not an immigrant, and he has a little bit more trouble like seeing why the things that matter to them matter so much. And it's set in the context of this ridiculous law that was on the ballot. It was a proposed law on the ballot in like the 90s that would strip away undocumented kids' rights from going to school and undocumented people's rights from receiving medical care. So just a extremely draconian and cruel proposal that was put on the ballot by somebody from Monrovia. I used to work in Monrovia. I still live near there. I can kind of see it. So, this is set in a really scary like political climate, and it's a little bit like historical fiction because that really did happen. There was like this governor's race that really did happen, and then that was really on the ballot. And so it's an exploration of, how that would have affected all different kinds of people. So anyway, while it's written, at a Lexile level that younger students could access, I think that just the sheer intensity of the situation could be pretty triggering for kids, especially if they can really see themselves in the characters in the book, and if they weren't exactly sure how this turned out. So as a teacher, I would recommend giving away the ending. I know that seems weird, but I would give away the ending at the beginning and let them know how this all played out, because even for me reading through it, it's really scary and you're really worried for these characters. It's super uncommon, by the way, for educational policy to be a ballot issue. The general public usually does not vote on education policy. This is usually something that is, just taken care of by our elected state officials, and it usually is done at the state level. Very little educational policy is federal. Most of it is by state, and then districts themselves have a lot of wiggle room within those policies. So this was a very strange occurrence, but not impossible, and not entirely unlikely or impossible to happen again. So, okay, I'm talking too much about each book. Two more. The Parted Earth by Anjali and Jetty was the Amory's book club pick for the month of August, and this is always my recommendation if you have trouble, just like staying motivated to read. I'm definitely dealing with that right now, and so being a part of some kind of an online book club or like an Instagram book club or something is definitely a way to keep interesting books coming into your life and have, just a little bit of accountability to talk about them. This is historical fiction set in India, and it takes place during the partition between India and Pakistan. And partition is a really sterile word to describe what happened, considering how many people died and just the atrocities that were committed against Muslims and even Hindus who were just not willing to kill Muslims or discriminate against them. This isn't a history that I knew much about, but it's fairly recent. This is like the 1940s. I mean, in the world history context of World War II and what was happening in Europe at this time, I feel like this is just very, very important to know. And this novel is a multi-generational novel, so it does come into the present day, and there are some uncovering of family history scenes and stuff like that. It's very well written. Very, very good. Highly recommend. Okay, third book for the month of August was Towers Falling by Jewel Parker Rhodes. Had this for a while and just didn't pick it up, but I've always wanted to just check it out, as an option for students as we get closer to the 9/11 anniversary each year. And this year is the 20-year anniversary, so that just carries some extra weight. And there was a suicide bombing in Afghanistan about a week ago. I think it was that recently. And one of the American Marines killed went to the school where I teach about a decade ago. It was before I taught there, so I didn't know him, but some of our teachers did. And that just, brings this closer to home. And so I think sometimes we forget about how after 9/11, our military presence increased so much, and how that affected so many thousands and thousands of people here. But anyway, that's not really what this book is about. This book is about a group of fifth graders who kind of know varying amounts about what actually happened on 9/11. One girl just really doesn't know a lot, but her father was deeply impacted by it, and he's still dealing with extreme anxiety and stuff, and that makes things really, really hard on their family. And then she's friends with a girl who's Muslim who, her family still remembers how scary it was for them in New York after that, and then another kid whose dad is in the military. So it's nice to see those three different perspectives. It is a good book, I think, for upper elementary. I'm reading a few others just to get just some options, just to kind of see what's out there. It's more interesting to me from almost a historiography perspective. How have we handled this in our literature since then? What kind of stories are we telling to our kids about this who didn't experience it? How are we framing it, and what are we, highlighting, and what are we leaving out? So it's just interesting to me. So I'm doing a little bit of a book study on this just for my own curiosity. I've recently written about this, and it was very difficult to do. I will talk more about that soon, but it is weird. It's a weird thing to do. So anyway, those were the three books that I read in August. Let's talk about baby stuff. Get some sugar in me. Okay, let me find this post showing quite a bit. I'm 16 weeks right now. So I was pregnant all summer, It was really awful. I didn't like upload very much or really like, you know, put all that much on social media because I was just so tired. But anything that I did put up, people were like, are you okay? Are you ill? Why do you seem so sick? A few people, you know, were like, are you pregnant? So yes, it was physically difficult to hide it. I mean, not that I was like trying to hide it all that much. Just trying to, you know, respect our family members and make sure that we got to celebrate with them first. But like basically anybody that I saw in person or was like texting or whatever, I just like went ahead and told them. And all these friends that I had summer plans with, like, yes, we're gonna hang out over the summer. People who live, you know, about an hour away, 45 minutes away or whatever, that I can't like always see, but they're close enough. We had all these plans and I was just like, I can't do it. I can't get myself an hour across LA. It's just not gonna happen. I nap like every couple of hours. So yeah, it was a really like difficult summer for me because I had so many plans. There was a lot that I was planning on getting done as far as like supplemental materials for my book, and I was really excited to do that. Like I thought that would be awesome, and it was impossible. There was no way that could happen. The things that I did do, I just felt like weren't my best work, and that was frustrating for me. And I think this time around I was hit with a lot more fluctuating hormones that really just like affected my mental state. And so it was just, every day was a struggle. I was physically ill. I was, you know, throwing up and not able to keep food down and not able to move very much. It was a really hot summer as well. So I just, you know, I didn't want to go outside. I didn't want to go for walks. So I was just inside, averse to coffee and tea and all of the things that usually kind of like, you know, just make a day inside more bearable. I didn't want to read. I watched every single episode, rewatched every single episode of Downton Abbey. I had already seen it, but I watched all of it again. So yeah, it was rough that first trimester. I'm still dealing with a lot of like skin issues. Like I'm quite red and inflamed everywhere. So there are just those things going on, and at the beginning it's tough because you're not letting yourself get super excited because it's just early on. So you're dealing with all of these really difficult symptoms, but like you're afraid to let yourself feel the joy. So anyway, now I've been just trying really hard to like not rob myself of any joy. Like this is a really exciting time, and I'm so happy that we're having another baby, and I'm really looking forward to, you know, after the pregnancy and after like the extreme newborn stage, and then that just like cute little squishy baby phase again. That part will be fun. The newborn stage, I haven't lost my memory that much. I remember that it's quite miserable. And I'm prepared, I know, but I'm still overall very, very excited. So I'm just trying to let myself be excited. And part of that, you know, is like just letting everybody know, because it's really fun when other people are like excited with you. So thank you guys for being excited with us, because that really helps like when I'm like physically and hormonally. So it helps to be able to feed off of other people's positive energy. So that has been really fun. Let me get to some specific questions. I know people have asked if we know the sex. I do, and for whatever reason, Derek he won't let me tell him. He wants me to keep it a secret from him for longer. I don't really know why. It's not gonna last all that long. He's gonna know eventually just from like stuff or whatever, but as soon as I can convince him to let me tell him, then I will tell you guys. I cannot fathom not wanting to know. Like they called me and they had like the results of whatever tests, and they're like this and this and this, and do you want to know the sex? And I'm like, yes, I want to know all of the facts. What are all of the available facts? In general, give me all of the available facts about everything. So of course I want to know. He likes surprises more. I don't know why. So here's a question from Kafuple Classroom. Hello. She has a YouTube channel as well and teaches high school. She says, for your Q&A, what maternity clothes have you purchased or plan on purchasing? Do you have a criteria? Do you have styling tips for pregnant teachers? I kept no baby stuff because it's been a while since Jensen was a baby, and we had the teeny tiny apartment. So I just got rid of everything as it became unnecessary, but I did keep all of my maternity clothes. So I still have some like leggings and jeans and like basic tops and stuff, a couple of dresses. So I haven't needed to buy too much, but 6 years ago, I guess, when I was pregnant, I guess I didn't wear leggings like as often. I don't know if this is a pandemic effect or what, but now I like only wear leggings. I did buy some more. These are some maternity leggings. I've ordered a couple pairs of these, and then I have like a maternity tank top on, and then this is just like a large shirt, button down shirt thing. So like for the base layers, like my pants and maybe like a tank top or t-shirt or whatever, I need it to be a maternity. I'm only 16 weeks, but since about, I don't know, 10 or 12 weeks, I just switched over to maternity stuff. I just pulled out my old stuff from my closet. I was like, I'm already uncomfortable every second of the day, so I'm not gonna also allow things to like cut into my stomach because I was already starting to thicken. So yeah, I'm just like, let's get right into the maternity stuff, be as comfortable as possible. My boobs are freaking huge and I hate it, and it really doesn't make much like biological sense. I don't understand this evolutionary adaptation. They don't need to be huge to feed a baby. Babies' mouths are not that big. I get frustrated by them all the time. But so I needed like new bras desperately. Otherwise I'm just like, oh. So yeah, if you are pregnant and trying to think about what to buy first, like the bottom layers, like the bras, tank tops, leggings, stuff, and then you can kind of put other things over it. So also at the very beginning, I was just wearing a lot of like kind of loose dresses. So in most of my pictures and stuff on like Instagram, it's just, yeah, like loose dresses, which I can still wear for now. Oh gosh, last time I kept this really cute book of Polaroids, and we took a picture at every single week. Like I think I took one every Sunday or something like that. And oh man, by the end you get so big. I forgot how big you get because I already feel kind of big, but then I was like, oh yeah, this is nothing. I have so many weeks to go. Okay, there were quite a few questions about maternity leave because most of us are teachers, and this is really difficult in the United States because we have crap maternity leave policies in general. So for Jensen, he was born on the last day of school, basically. So I didn't have to take any maternity leave with him. It was just summer. And then I started a new job in August. And so I didn't want to like go into that on any leave. So like summer was just my maternity leave. So I didn't have any sub plans. This time I'm due in February. So I will obviously take time off. I will be having a C-section because Jensen was 54 hours of miserable labor and then a really scary emergency C-section. That was a whole other ordeal. So this time it will just be scheduled and I will just go have the C-section. So you get a little bit more time off to recover. Oh, because yeah, all the memories are flooding back. The recovery's really, really awful. You can't walk. I couldn't get in and out of bed. I just had to lay on the couch for a couple of weeks. I just had like a sheet over the couch, and that was my like little hospital room for myself. So yeah, there will be that. And then I will probably go back in like May so that I'm there for like some of May and June. And this is so that I'll be able to get like final paychecks because I'll eventually move into that, you know, a time where I'm not being paid. So you have a tiny bit of paid leave. You're allowed to take off more without losing your job, but you're not getting paid. So I probably will go back to recoup a little bit of that. And plus, there's some kind of an equation. I have to go to the meeting with HR to like work all of it out, but to make sure that that year counts towards retirement, because that would be a bummer if I had like barely missed it. Like if I didn't go back at all this year, I think I would like barely miss counting this year toward retirement, and that would suck for my future self. So I don't really want to do that. Sub plans wise, What I'm really most worried about is getting a sub at all, because there's like a massive sub shortage everywhere, even in our district. So if you live near me and you're a sub and you want my class for a couple of months, make sure you apply on EdJoin, because we pay $200 a day. And then I think the long-term sub pay is even more. And I am very organized. So by February, they're gonna have all of their routines and everything down. I pretty much have everything digitally set up for the most part. So I don't think it's gonna be a very hard sub job on the subs part. But for me, I'm just gonna leave like my structures in place and then be like, you know, I'll save like a particular English unit, and I'm sure we'll be on a certain, you know, history unit. I'll probably kind of like just time it so that I end something right before I go, and then like, you know, that the sub can start like a new thing. So for long-term sub pay, they're being compensated for doing the lesson planning. So I'll leave like an outline, but the daily, how they want to teach it is up to them. And I will be having my organs removed and recovering from major surgery, so I don't care what is happening in my class while I'm gone. So that's that on that. Let's see. There were a few people that asked like if I planned, or like if I recommend like planning your pregnancy for a certain time in the school year, and like I can't imagine the pressure that would put on somebody to be trying to do that. Like I would never recommend that. Like, whew, for so many people, pregnancy, you know, getting pregnant can be really, really stressful and difficult and emotional and stressful. And I just would never recommend like adding an extra layer of like planning a certain month for that. And like, I just believe that like things happen at the right time and things will happen for a reason. So like with Jensen, we didn't really plan the time. We just, you know, we were like, oh, you know, if we get pregnant now, this would be a pretty good time. Like now just being, you know, this season of life. And so he was due in June, which maybe isn't ideal for some people because you'd want to like use some of your maternity leave during the school year. But for me, at that time, I was directing a musical, and there was no way for like somebody else to take that over. Like I needed to see that through, and I think that was in like end of April or something. So I'm so glad I wasn't due before then. And I was finishing my master's degree and my thesis, and I wanted to walk at graduation. I'd never really cared about walking like undergrad, or I didn't even go to the credential ceremony, but my master's degree was so much work, and I was so proud of that. And so thank goodness those, you know, graduation gowns are basically maternity size. So I walked in my master's ceremony like a week before Jensen arrived, and I was finishing my thesis. I had to defend my thesis to my panel at like 38 weeks pregnant or something like that. It was pretty ridiculous. And then just like the school year, I guess. So yeah, I'm very glad that he wasn't due any earlier than that, because I had things I needed to finish up before I became a mother. And then this time around, I was a little surprised to find that I was pregnant over the summer. I had been like kind of hoping, you know, we were in a bit of a wait and see type of phase. But I'm very glad that this awful first trimester that I didn't really have last time. I mean, last time I was like tired, but nothing like this time. I was very glad that I just got to do all of that over the summer while I wasn't working, because I can't imagine being at school or being at a job and like having to show up somewhere every day feeling that sick. So for me, this was like such a blessing that when we went back to school, it was right around the time when I was moving into that second trimester and feeling better. So I mean, I think things will just work out for you, and the timing will be what you need, and there will be things that you can't even foresee, and this will work out. And I always say too that like if there's a time when you're not pregnant and you want to be, maybe it's because you have like big things to do. We weren't really trying to get pregnant over the past couple of years, but I'm very glad that also that we weren't, because I had big things to do, books to write and like commercials to film in New York and just like all kinds of really exciting, fun things to do. And so timing it will just work out. A few people asked about like age gap thing with Jensen and this baby. I just truly like have not thought about that. I don't really care about those things. But Jensen is so excited. Oh my gosh, he's out of the three of us like the most excited, and he talks about the baby all the time, and he hugs my belly all the time, and he like he'll be sitting in the car seat in the back, and he'll be like, "Mommy, we don't have any bottles. We need to go to the store and buy bottles for the baby." Oh yeah, I guess we do. So he's always thinking about baby. He's gonna be such a good helper. I'm sure that they're gonna be really close. I have one sister who is 2 years younger than me, and growing up we fought all the time and really hated each other. And then I have another sister that she's like 6.5, 7 years younger than me, and we got along great because what would we have to fight about? And we still do now. Now I get along with my sister that's 2 years younger as well. But like, there's not like a formula, that's gonna work for that. So yeah, whatever, age gap. They'll be great, I'm sure. I'm assuming that this will be our last. I think 2 is great for our family. I think that would be awesome. Me and Derek both come from families of 3. He has 3 boys in his family. I have 3 girls in my family. We grew up when times were simpler, so I think 2 would be just perfect. Both of our moms also like got started on this process much earlier than we did. Well, our moms and our dads were both pretty young when they started having kids, and I'm 35 now, so like, I don't know. I have some energy now, and like, I don't know. I kind of always wanted to be a mom like in my 30s. Like I always thought that would be kind of a good time to start having kids. My 20s were more for my career and my education and like just getting life set up. And so I'm excited that we're having kids when we are a little bit more stable. We have some actual savings for most of my 20s. We did not. We were working so many jobs, like all over Southern California all the time. Derek still kind of is. I mostly, can do my extra work like from home, and we're in a bigger place now, which just like logistically is easier. Like I was just thinking about like the pumping equipment and how much easier it will be to clean and sterilize with the additional counter space that we now have. And we have a washer and dryer. I can actually wash the spit up baby clothes and everything without having to like leave the house and find quarters and go to the coin operated washer and dryer and stuff like that. So there are gonna be some things that are easier this time around, just logistically. I think that's most of the things that you guys were curious about. So for my first pregnancy, I did videos every trimester. So like teaching through the first trimester, because I think I got pregnant in like August. So I was teaching the whole time that first trimester, and then a second and a third trimester video. So you can go back and watch those for more like specific advice. Those are kind of fun to see. And this time I'm not really gonna put a whole lot of pressure on myself to be making like specific pregnancy videos, but I'm sure I'll just in general be making videos and updating you guys on pregnancy stuff, probably more so on like Instagram, I would think. But yes, so now that I actually have some energy and I'm like enjoying being back in my office, I couldn't even like look at my computer during that first trimester. It just like made me ill. So I have like bills to pay that are late, I think, just because I didn't feel like getting online and dealing with it. So I'm finally like feeling well today, so I'm gonna try to get a bunch of things knocked out. So I hope you guys are well, and I will see you next time. Bye.